Centre of Memory facility opened in Houghton for the public to view certain items of the former statesman. This is one of many initiatives to honour Madiba. Now, for more on these, we are joined in our Pretoria studios by the Department of Arts and Culture, Deputy Director General Monica Newton. Minister of Arts and Culture Paul Mashatile launched the South African season in France in 2013 on May the 6th. With the announcement that more than 1,000 South Africans, including artists, academics, children and sportsmen, are set to benefit from the bilateral agreement. But to tell us a little bit more about that, we joined in our Pretoria studios by Monica. Monica, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Let's first talk about the Mandela Centre of Memory, which was officially opened last night by the President. How will it help to keep the legacy of the former statesman Nelson Mandela alive?
Well, it's part of a much larger framework where there are so many initiatives that support and memorialize and recognize and record the extraordinary legacy of former President Nelson Mandela as essentially one of the founding fathers of our nation's democracy. So, as was highlighted in your earlier broadcast, there's also going to be the erection of a very large statue before the end of the year, President Jacob Zuma announced, and there are already a series of memorializations of Nelson Mandela, and we were of course very fortunate to have the Nelson Mandela exhibition opening as part of the French season, and in fact it was one of the most extraordinary showcases as part of the South African season in France, which really opened to record audiences in May this year.
Have you been fortunate to see the size of the statue already of the former President Nelson Mandela?
Unfortunately, I have not, but I wait in eager anticipation.
We anticipate that it will be a large-size sculpture.
Yes, that is correct. Mm-hmm. It will be in keeping with his stature as one of the world's greatest statesmen.
Now, President Zuma spoke of honouring all icons, apartheid icons, that is. Is the centre only exhibiting Madiba's items or others as well?
I must admit I have not seen the centre's collection, so I can't really comment, but certainly my understanding of Nelson Mandela's legacy is that it has always been inclusive and recognises the work and the sacrifice of so many people, and I'm sure that the centre would take that on board, but again I would speak under correction. Thank you
so much. Now let's talk about the French season. Now, what has it done for South Africa in general? Because earlier I indicated that the Minister of Arts and Culture, Paul Mashatile, launched the South African season in France in 2013 on May the 6th.
Well, the season has operated at a range of different levels. One of the things that it has done is further cement the very good bilateral diplomatic relations between South Africa and France. Our countries have a long history of working together, and the French season has ushered in a new phase of those relationships. From an individual perspective, with so many artists, academics, business people, chefs, and scientists working in France over the last little while, collaborating on new works, learning from each other, contributing to each other, showcasing their work, hopefully opening up new markets for South African work in France and of course French work in South Africa, as we had the French season last year. The season has been an enormous success and of course an extraordinary learning experience for us in South Africa, because the French are very proficient at seasons. They've done them all over the world. This is our first sort of real season beyond smaller exchange programs, and so we're using this learning, for example, to create relationships between ourselves and the UK, to create a season next year. There's a lot of discussion about a season with China. So all in all, it's been a very empowering experience for South Africans.
It's a cultural exchange, isn't it? So give us an example for the viewers that don't know about the French-South African season.
Well, in essence, a lot of the projects are actually uniquely collaborative. For example, we've had a collaboration between a South African choreographer and a French jazz trumpeter to create an entirely new work which was showcased for the first time at a French festival to full houses. So there's been that level of collaboration which has essentially been from first principles. We've also had, for example, extraordinary models of work from France. For example, the Michel Gonry home movie factory, which set up its sets in Johannesburg and allowed about 2,500 people to experience actual movie making themselves. These are just ordinary people given a window of opportunity to see how the technical and creative art of film actually realizes itself, and of course the extraordinary experience of being able to see the film that they made themselves in a cinema, which has been an amazing experience. We've also had a lot of collaborations in the academic realm, where we've had the prehistory exhibition between a university in France and the University of the Witwatersrand, talking about how life has changed over time, how artifacts have changed, who we are, what we do, and of course bringing South African knowledge and French knowledge together in the hope that there would be long-lasting relationships.
So I would imagine many of these South African artists can now speak French. Parlez-vous français?
Well, I would hope so. Certainly for myself, from an administration perspective, I've not been able to learn much beyond the very basic French. But let's hope that that multilingual nation that South Africa is has fully embraced French.
Monica Newton, merci. Thank you very much for your time right here on our show. That's the DDG for the Department of Arts and Culture, Monica Newton, on the line.